Hey y'all, how's it going? It's another Sunday, another party day. Sunday fun
Yeah,
day with the heels of time. I am Theo. This is Derek. Derek's feeling a little tired today,
a little under the weather. Yeah.
so he might not be his usual hype self. Hopefully, I can coax him out of the sickness. But no, it's not COVID, so we're good to go.
No, it's not.
So
But
not that kind of sickness,
someone
but
was out of the office for a week with some kind of head cold. I think
yeah,
maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
hopefully not. Hopefully not. So we have an interesting show today. We're not we're breaking tradition, and we're
We're
not
breaking.
actually going to be comparing individuals directly. It's more an overall
Mhm.
arching theme that we picked up on, or so we think we picked up on. And
Okay,
this particular character's
sounds good.
life in general was I would say tragic. I would say
Mm.
heroic. I would say kind of
Okay.
kind of sweet. Most everybody has heard of this individual, most of his plights, and he definitely is part of a lot of different cultures and different universes,
Mm.
like such as the Marvel universe.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, and I'm hopefully going to convince Derek of this,
Okay.
in the Wheel of Time as a story arc,
Hmm.
and it's none other than the mega beast himself, Hercules.
Ooh, Hercules.
Hercules.
Yeah. No, I know at least one place where he makes a guest appearance for sure. But
Hmm.
yeah, why don't you
Maybe I'll accidentally drop the knowledge on you in this
Oh,
time.
that's all right. Why don't you go for the background to set this up?
All right. So most people know Hercules. You could also say Heracles,
Mm.
spelled a couple different ways. Good to go. He's Greek in origin, and also, go figure, in Roman mythology as well.
Of course.
Um, he had a tumultuous life. Um, in the end, depending on which version you go with, it ends up pretty damn well, or pretty tragic. Yeah. So I'm gonna go through his life cycle a little bit. So obviously he's born, and his father, go figure, man. Every badass mofo is born by Zeus.
Oh, of course.
Shocker! Zeus is the man. But wait, his mom is not Hera. So now you already got that
Mm.
tick of you're in some trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So his mother was Alchemy. Uh, she's actually pretty. Her lineage is pretty interesting too. She's the granddaughter of Perseus, and Perseus
Mm.
was the one to technically, or not technically, I guess you could say, because it's mythological, was he killed the Gorgon, Medusa.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like she came from a bad bloodline, and you could almost say a Greek hero was,
Mm.
obviously her grandfather. So Hercules comes from a hell of a good lineage, but alas, was not a true kid of Zeus and Hera.
Mm.
And in true form, she's like, no, this has got to cease. So she found out while she was while the mistress was pregnant. So she's like, yeah, no, it's time to murder. So she uses
Mm.
her. She was gonna use her supernatural powers just to stop Hercules from becoming his birthright, which is the ruler of Mycenae, because he said the son is gonna be the ruler of Mycenae, the Mycenaean Empire.
Oh, for
And
real?
yeah, and Hera's like, fuck no. Oops, sorry. Yeah, whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna be dropping some bombs today because this guy's a
Dude,
pimp.
dude,
So
he is. He's the man,
he
dude.
is, and so she's like, nah, and she was going to kind of weasel her way in and make this weak sauce the leader instead. Well, sort of happened, but yeah. So we got some differentiating storylines. The most common and one we're gonna go with because it doesn't truly matter ish. So goes into hiding. Little trickeration. He's born anyway. Yeah. And so it falls upon Athena, and Athena's like, she's the goddess of wisdom. She's like, man, and technically, she doesn't have a mom. So she's like, I don't really give a shit about you, Hera. I found this baby. Oh, no. He actually needs to be helped. And he's so strong. Hera, please. And she's like, oh, no, this baby's so cute. Okay, I will help him. So puts him in the crib. And, of course, it's Hercules, and he's got to feed. So, of course, she starts doing the breastfeeding thing. And because he's Hercules and mega strong, he also has a bite that is equally strong and goes on her boob. And she's like, ouch! Kind of throws him. Of course, it's Hercules, so it doesn't affect him. But in theory, according to the Greeks, is from her lactation spray that made the Milky Way. Hence the Milky Way.
Wow.
That's
really cool.
So that's gross but interesting. So she's like, man, what the hell, kid? And then she kind of like clicks and is like, huh, interesting. And then she's like, man, you know what? This kid's crazy strong. Should be about the right age. Dang it. And she's like, this kid gonna die. So she sends 2 snakes in there. Snakes, serpents. Bingo. And she was going to murder the kid. Literally poisoned the snakes, and so sad, and was gonna like choppy. Well, little dude is like, hell yeah. Chokes them both out, kills them, and is like playing like a rattle with them. Because he doesn't know any better, and he's strongest, pretty much the physically strongest being, period. I mean, I don't necessarily compare him to Zeus because I don't think there's a 1-to-1, but pure muscle, he just...
You'd have to give that to Hercules?
Yeah, I would actually say yes. And he had no fear. Just, I'm strong, I'm good. But this is as a baby, just killed him. Kind of like the scene in one of the Star Wars movies. Slice and dice with the Force and lightsabers. Only he did with his hands. So Hera was like, man, no. I still want to murder that son of a gun. So becomes a little bit older, adolescent, young adult, whatever you want to call him. And she uses her mystic powers to put him like in a kind of like a paranoid state. And he went poof, nuts. And now when I mean adolescent, he was like 16, 18. He was a little bit older than that. But age is nothing but a number. And unfortunately, he killed his wife and kids.
Jeez, that's
in his temporary rage. So that was kind of, he was devastated because she like laughed on top of the Olympus and was like flash, and it was pretty brutal. And it's like the blood was all over him and everything, and not unlike a certain video game, even though it's a different character, obviously. Kind of woke up to the aftermath of it and was like, oh my God, I don't believe what I just did. So he's like, this is awful. Goes to Apollo. And as we've mentioned with Apollo before, he's the god of truth and healing. So he's like, and also another brother, you could say half brother of Hercules through Zeus. And he's like, I gotta be punished. Punish me. Now this is where a lot of people are like, hey, the 12 labors of Hercules. Technically there were 10.
Oh, okay.
However, remember how I said that bitch king that Hera put into place?
Yeah.
He had to go to him to get the labors. Eurystheus. I can never say his name. Whatever. King of the Mycenaeans.
All right.
Bitch man. Hercules could have just flicked him and dead, but
of course
that's not his style. So they're like, once you complete whatever he gives you, you will You'll be absolved of your actions. So this dude was like, oh man, I don't know what to do. Harold's like, give him the 10 most crazy things on the planet to do to kill him. Basically, she still wants to murder him. And so they're like, well, okay. So you say, well, wait, I thought there were 12. There technically were 10. And then because 2 were so easy, because he was so skilled at what he did, and it was like, well, this is easy. They added 2 more to make it 12. So, yeah, kind of interesting. So, first, I'm not really going to go through all the labors per se, because there's a couple that I think might be interesting, and there's others that are just kind of like, okay, the dude's crazy and awesome, but not necessary.
All right.
So the Nemean lion, everyone thinks I think everybody knows that one because he always wears the skin of the lion. So go figure, he beats that lion. This was like a lion that was a super beast. Some people even said that it was Zeus's lion, as in Zeus fathered the lion. Like I said, Zeus has like
that makes sense though.
Yeah.
As far as what we know about Zeus.
Right. And so Hercules, but that also kind of make him like a step bro or a half bro. Weird, but
Yeah.
So whatever. So that beast was murdering everybody, terrorizing the population. And Hercules just goes in and just chokes out the lion. Just that was it. So for the rest of his life, literally use that as a cloak. Pretty badass. Yeah, because you have this huge lion head over you, and that make you even more fierce. I can't really say that has any kind of parallel within the Wheel of Time. Now, with like an animal pelt,
I got something that for you.
You do? Dude, lay it down on me, bro.
You want me to throw it down now?
Yeah, throw it down now. Like I said, we're breaking traditions here, man.
So
and we'll see how long you can last.
All right, I got this. Yeah, for real. So check this out, man. So we mentioned that this is like a who's who as far as Hercules goes, because we don't really have one guy exactly to pin it on.
No.
Although that'll be the smoking gun that you can't really argue. Like, all right, well, those 2 parts of that guy, that's Hercules. But other than that,
right?
His fingerprints are actually in multiple places. Like for example, here, Perrin. Okay, he's the most physically imposing of the heroes. Like he's a blacksmith. He spent his formidable years, like his adolescence, in the forge, putting on muscle and muscle and muscle. He is so strong. He needed a club. And he was in the middle of an inn. So he's like, oh, what do I do for a club? Oh, I'll just rip this chair apart with my bare hands. And now I have a club in my hand. Like, dude could have just ripped the guy in half. Like, he's so strong, he doesn't like know his own strength kind of situation. So in a very real, literal sense, he's very Herculean. And it might not be like, well, this Hercules can punch a mountain. Well, okay, no, but he physically has that like Schwarzenegger, Macho Man, kind of Hulk Hogan kind of body. Like, like, oh, these bars, we're stuck in these bars. Oh, I can't break them, but I'll bend them. And now they're loose enough for you to slide through, that kind of stuff. Like, he is strong. So you got that going on. But more specifically, Theo, land fear comes appearing in a dream. And the world of dreams, we pointed out, is a little bizarre. It's a little weird, a little bizarre. Sometimes there's a lot of evidence to say, okay, it's the afterlife. Sometimes there's a lot of evidence that says, okay, it's the underworld. So it really kind of is this kind of, I really think it's like a space holder for all the weird stuff that really didn't quite get into Wheel of Time proper. Like, but it's still part of mythology, and everyone, so in this part of mythology, the way that she puts it is she's kind of visiting him in kind of like a sense of, these are your options, right? Like, this is who you could be, kind of like a mystical, like make a wish kind of situation. And of course he refuses. But what does she offer him of anything? She offers him this kind of uh, armor, this helmet of like a golden mane. Okay. And she's like, you've been glorious before. You can be glorious again. So it's almost like she's saying there's a pathway for you to go on to be the main man. You don't have, Rand doesn't have to be the main guy. But then she's like, well, the price is going to be like, yeah, Rand's definitely going to die. I mean, if you do this, but you'll have glory, you know, that kind of stuff. So I see it very much as like, there are these little hints, these little breadcrumbs, but I feel like Jordan didn't want to have Hercules be in one character, at least this time around. But he wanted to spread them out. So to make, I've only mentioned one character. So before I throw it back to you, I'll point out another tie-in that I don't think even we discussed. And it's when Rand, who remember he was hidden as a child.
Right.
When he grows up to become like an adult for the Aiel, like a chief, a clan chief, he goes to Rohirrim, which is like the city of the dead. That's what they call it.
Right.
When he comes out, kind of like Hercules, when Hercules is a baby, he comes out with 2 serpents coiled around his arms.
Ooh, good point. I forgot about that.
Yeah, a serpent for each arm. Doesn't that kind of invoke the picture of Hercules?
Yeah,
he's choking him.
Yeah.
It's most definitely. So it seems like to me, even though you have Perrin being the most physically imposing individual, and he's the one that kind of, you know, is offered that kind of Nemean lion armor in a way. I would see that golden helmet. But also he kind of fights with a club. He fights with a big hammer. So he has like a big blunt weapon. Kind of Hercules was known for the club. Perrin is also very good with a bow.
I was going to say, Hercules' main weapon is actually the bow.
Yeah, yes. So there you go. And before I say too much more, so yeah, I think that you have those aspects of Hercules over there. But then I think you have these obvious aspects of Hercules with Rand. And we hear about Rand or Hercules, you know, being so strong, he can do this and that. Well, there's a passage in book 4 of Wheel of Time where using the power, it's saying the blows Rand would have made were so strong they would have leveled a mountain, or they would have stabbed through to the core of the earth, stuff like that. So those are just the 2 things I really have right now. But I was going to pass it back to you.
Yeah.
If you.
Good. All right. That's impressive. Good job, bro.
Thank you, sir.
Keeping your thoughts in line.
Yes.
So for the next one's kind of important is the Hydra. That one's nuts because if you remember the myth, if you slice a head off, more grow back.
More grow back. That's right.
So how the hell is he gonna knock out this? How the hell is he gonna kill it? So he's like, I need some help. So gets his cousin, Aeolus, actually technically his nephew, and he's like, you know what? If I slice off the head, I wonder if we burn and cauterize the neck part, will it grow back? Sure enough, it doesn't. And they're like, oh my God, this is easy. Slice, sizzle, and it was like game over easy. It's actually a quote unquote easy labor, but he also kind of cheated because he got help. So that one kind of counted, but not really, hence the extras. But the kicker for this one is the Hydra blood is poisonous.
Okay.
So he's like, well, you know what? If I dip some of my arrows, I can have crazy, mythological, poisoned arrows.
Okay.
So maybe some other things in the future this might come handy for.
Gotcha.
Keep that as a note.
Yeah, no, gotcha.
So goes back and is like, killed that Hydra. They're like, you got help. That doesn't count. You gotta go nab this deer. And you're like, deer? What? So it's a gorgeous red deer, golden antlers, most beautiful, one of the most beautiful beasts, right? Not a terrorizing thing. Deers don't like, attack things per se unless they're wounded. So you're like, what's so special about this deer? Well, it was Diana's pet. Diana's the goddess of the hunt and everything, but she also was like protector of like the woodland creatures too. Like you just don't go murder things. Well, she also had a decree that anybody caught trying to steal her pet would just be instantly killed. She'd just murder them.
Oh no!
Like she doesn't
mess around.
No, she's ruthless when it comes to that kind of stuff. And she did kill before and was like, nope. So what's he gonna do? Try to go for it or not? Well, he's got to be absolved of his crimes. So he's like, well, you know what? If I'm going to die, I'm going to die anyway. Let's do it.
Nice.
Goes, steals it, or about to steal it, and she catches him. So now there's a quandary. And he pleads and is like, this is what happened. This is what's going down. If I don't take your deer, I can never be absolved, and it's so sad. Look at what happened to my family. And he played on her heartstrings, and she's like, okay. Right? I'm like, dang. So he actually had some gift of words, too. So he wasn't just a super...
So.
Like
not an idiot or
not
whatever.
Not an idiot. Yeah, I wouldn't say an idiot savant, because it gets more crazy later with his mind games.
Sure.
So I want, after we're done, I have an interesting ask, which is going to test you.
Okay, sure.
Hopefully. Or hopefully I don't make you like collapse. But either way.
No,
we'll figure it out.
All good.
So next mission. Gotta have a big ass boar coming through. Eating people. Man-eating mega boar. Erythmian boar. Thing was huge. Super stabs, beat down. And yeah, he basically just killed it. Use that bow.
Killed it.
Gone. Done. Snap. Easy. Too easy.
So he just killed the boar. He killed the boar. Did you say fight it or fought it or use his bow?
He just murdered it. Like
he just killed it.
It was but it was too easy.
Oh, okay.
I mean, so that was gonna kind of sort of count-ish, but whatever. The next one, he was supposed to be met with the most humiliating task of all. Supposed to get over his hubris and his own self, so to speak. And this is where he starts to, if you can tell, like the hero's journey coming through here, kind of tragic.
No, I got it.
Has to teach himself a lesson.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is part of it. So these stables, never been cleaned before.
Okay.
So can you imagine these like most impressive stallions? They're like 20. I mean, I'm not gonna say 20 feet tall. That's like a wives' tale, even more of a wives' tale in the mythology vector. But these gargantuan mega stables, super stallions, never been cleaned. Anybody that's ever been around a stable knows that funk, and knows how much a horse has to go to the bathroom. And they've never ever been cleaned.
And these are kind of like
super horses. Super horse, yeah. So you can only imagine like super horses, super dung. So you're talking about piles, like feet of piles in each like area, all over. He's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to clean this? So he's like, what am I going to do? Again, uses his mind and is like, you know what? There's two rivers, I'm just going to like make them go together and use it as like a big hose to wash out the stables. So he gets the horses out of there, so he doesn't want to kill the horses and stuff. They're gone. And he literally picks up the rivers and moves them and diverts them toward the stables, and the rushing water cleans all that dookie away, and labor done.
Dude,
craziness.
So I have two possible parallels for you.
Do it, bro.
That may have to do with the cleaning of the stable appearing in Wheel of Time.
Go for it.
So the first one goes like this. There's the city of the dead, the Rudian.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it has been in a desert. It's been sitting in dry for thousands of years. The breaking is 3,000 years to the day, I guess, where most things are happening in Wheel of Time. So it's been sitting there in this desert, not occupied. So what does Rand do with the power? and he is able to summon this underground river or water source, whatever you want to call it. And he says he brings it up enough water to fill the watershed for generations. So he basically moves the river to refill this water fountain that's going to give water to this whole village, this whole group of people. So that's kind of crazy. Now, the point of the story of the mythology of Hercules isn't necessarily about moving a water source, though. It's more about cleaning that stable of that filth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other feat that Rand accomplishes that is like that is that he is able to, this is a big spoiler, he's able to cleanse the source. And how does he do that? He reroutes this other source of hateful energy, like a river.
Bingo.
Like a river.
Yep.
And it kind of washes out,
cleanses
the taint. Yeah. So at the end of the day, they kind of cancel out each other. So, and in the same sense of awe, like this, you wouldn't be able to clean all of these horses at once. It's the same kind of infinite, kind of endless kind of scale that they're trying to put into your mind. Like both of the story, you see what I mean?
Yep.
So from the point of view of cleansing the source and the point of view of the stable being just a task
Filth.
that one man could not
do
it's
himself.
Filthy.
Yep.
Yes, those two things, exactly. So I'm going to throw it back to you, but what do you think? Do you think that
that's perfect. I would say the river could be a metaphor.
Sure.
And obviously cleansing the filth. Also, in Hercules' case, getting away from obviously his punishment, but also showing that he's not below cleaning a stable. Getting over himself and makes himself humbling experience.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't say is unlike Rand at certain points in the series, kind of having to step on himself to say, I might be the all-powerful, but am I just?
Yeah, for sure.
And you can also kind of compare that to Perrin,
because
he wants to be the most just, and he feels bad for murdering people.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm glad you brought that up. As a matter of fact, Perrin struggles with this idea of turning himself in to the White Cloaks for murdering two other White Cloaks. And as time goes by, and he's had to kill more White Cloaks in battle, and he's had to save people's lives from shadow spawn, murder, all Trollocs, all sorts of stuff. But he still doesn't really depart from that sense of duty. Like, well, if I broke the law,
I should be punished for it.
I should be punished for it. Like 1 + 1 is 2. Like,
So,
I like that you pointed that out. They definitely have this sense of duty or justice or whatever you want to call it. Absolutely.
Yep. So going back to his story, and I guess I am going to kind of go through more of the labors than I thought, but whatever. I'm having fun.
It's all good.
We're
hanging in here.
And this is one of my favorite dudes from mythology. So sorry,
dude. We'll probably do another episode, right? We're toying with the idea of Okay, I won't spoil it.
Yeah. Nah. Yes, we're not getting into. I mean, we were thinking this was going to be short, y'all. This one's not going to be short. Sorry, Derek. Sleep if you must.
I'm hanging in there, man. I'm hanging in there.
All right, so next one kind of is straightforward, hard but straightforward. Stymphalian birds, big flock of birds, but again, I don't know what's going on in the Greek countryside, but they like meat, so they were. No one could shoo them away, and Hercules you gotta go do this. He's like, man, how in the hell am I gonna get the damn birds away? So Athena, again, helps him out. She gave him some bronze noisemakers, essentially like big, things that are crazy loud.
Okay.
Also aided by Hephaestus. If we haven't mentioned him before, but he was the master forger of the gods. Made all their magical weapons or things that they needed. Let's put it that way. So, of course, they worked, and poof, those birds went away. What happened to the birds? I guess they just moved on, and that was good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't actually say
never
he
came
didn't
back.
kill the birds, so they just had to shoo him away. They probably should have made that labor tougher, but they didn't. So, okay, whatever.
Well, who knew that he'd get some magic rattles?
That is true. That is true. They should have known, but yeah, whatever. So next, this one's crazy. It's the Cretan Bull. So down in Crete, there's a king,
Mm-hmm.
had a wife. Yeah,
This wouldn't be the mythological King Minos, would it?
yeah. You could kind
All
of
right.
And his wife loved the bull.
Yeah.
Literally loved the bull.
Yeah.
And she gave birth to the Minotaur, hence the half man, half bull.
Mm.
Lovely, right? So Hercules was tasked to get the bull, not the Minotaur, but the bull. And obviously the king was like, hell yeah, take this bull. Now, mind you, this was a gorgeous mega bull, and in Cretan, Crete loved the bulls. I mean, I'm not saying they loved the bulls, but they worshipped the bull. It was bull jumping, and they were a very intricate part of their culture,
Okay.
legitimately, or at least from what we can tell by excavations and stuff. So bulls were very important. So they pretty much, like Hera and team thought that you're never gonna get the bull from Crete. Well, they didn't know about the Minotaur part, and so the king was like, bye. Easy. Next.
Well,
And-
dude, here's a quick fact.
Yeah.
The wolves refer to Perrin as young bull.
Yes.
Okay.
Right?
Just throwing that in.
Just saying. So, yeah. Interesting, right? I
Mhm.
mean, as far as we know, Perrin didn't bang a bull. So just saying.
Well,
Or
no,
wolf
but
bull, whatever.
maybe you could argue that part of the story became just the fact that that's his name.
Yeah, exactly. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
And there
yeah,
are no
you go.
spoilers, period. That
No.
we'll leave it at that. So, Eurystheus, I can never say his name. Eurystheus, there we go. I was like, Jesus, all right. I'm just going to release it in the streets of Marathon. Go, bull. Bull running. Hey!
Nice.
So, next, he had to go grab some horses of the man-eating variety.
Man-eating horses.
Man-eating horses, dude. These are mega horses that ate people. Whatever.
Hey,
Nah.
could be Trollocs.
True. Good point.
Minotaur
point.
could be Trollocs.
That is true. That is true. So these are of the Thracian king. Literally just grabbed the horses and was like, roll. And they're like, God, unbelievable. Again, he was victorious. So, Eurystheus dedicated him to Hera and then set them free. Because what the hell is he going to do with man-eating horses? He doesn't want them. Again, never thought that he was going to be actually able to, get it. So now they're
Right.
now they're freaking out. They're like, holy crap, he's down to four things left. 2 before, because, he had to do extras.
Okay.
So
Right.
next, Hippolytus Belt. That one should be kind of tough, right? How you gonna
Yeah,
grab how
that's
you gonna
the,
Amazon queen?
Right.
Literally,
That's what I was
yeah.
going to ask. Yeah.
So it's like, how the hell you gonna get a belt as a man from the Amazon queen,
right.
where men are like, there are no men on the island. So how you going to really do that? Again, he wasn't a dumbass. Dude has some skill. So at first, they're like, yay, that's no problem. And at first she was like, yep, you know what? Cool. You know what? I'm just going to give you my belt, bro. I understand your plight, and damn, that sucks. I'm going to give you my belt. No brawl, no anything. Uses his mind and words. No brawn. Pretty cool, right? I think that's pretty
Yeah.
impressive. Hera is like, God, not again. No. So now she disguises herself as an Amazon and spreads wicked rumors that Hercules was going to actually kidnap the queen and kill her. And so they're like, oh, hell no. So the women attack. He didn't come by himself. He came with the fleet, but whatever. So, unfortunately, Hercules killed Hippolyta,
Ah.
and then just took her belt. He felt, I mean, in defense, he
Like, why
did.
can't I just leave this here?
Well, I mean, he had no choice, had to grab the belt. Now it made it very clear that he was going to have to go to war. Either accomplish your feat or go down in misery.
Mm-hmm.
He had to, in his mind, he had to do what he had to do. That one was bad for him. He didn't dig that, though. But you got to do that. So he had to grab an impossible task and was able to do it. A bait got kind of rocked out again by Hera because she's a jerk. Yay, right? So next are cattle. Now we're getting down to the nitty gritty, down to the 10th. So go down to Africa to steal some cattle, man. So there's a six-legged, three-headed monster, Garon, who had these cattle. Hera did everything she could again because she knows that dude's gonna win. Like, as in Hercules is gonna win. Because now it's coming down to like the most difficult, hardcore labors, and he's just coming through. Does he get the cattle? Hell yeah! Our homie gets the cattle. So brings them back, and they're like, "Oh my god!" So now the two most ruthless things that they can ever think of: the Apples of Hesperettus. So this we kind of approached this one before.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm not going to go over craziness. So Hera, as a wedding gift to Zeus, gave him this crazy apple tree. Golden apples.
Okay.
So they were guarded by the nymphs. So this is crazy, right? Like, how in the hell are you going to get through these nymphs, grab this thing, got to steal from your dad to get these apples? That's a little bit of a quandary. How you going to do it? Hercules goes off to get some help because he's like, I don't know what to do. Goes to Prometheus, dude that gave Earth fire, right? Or humans fire. So he's getting pecked away and is like, dude, the only way you're going to be able to pull this off is to get Atlas to do it because the nymphs really dig him. All right, cool. So this is where it gets funkadoo. There's a couple versions, right? The version that you could say that was just like, okay, cool. Atlas goes, Hercules holds up the apple or holds up the earth. Atlas goes, wows the nymphs, grabs the apples. They swap places again. We're cool. Another version is the Leiden version, which has the not only guarded by the nymphs, but also guarded by a magical dragon, serpent dude thing being wrapped around the tree. Once again, the serpent thing. This one, I'm going to go a little more in depth because, again, I have a method to my madness here. So Prometheus is like, you got to get Atlas. Atlas is like, bro, obviously I can't do anything. I'm holding up the earth, man. It's my Titan punishment, bro. But we're strong dudes. Take it for me. Give me a little respite. I'll go grab these damn apples for you, bro. Cool. Herc. Got that weight. He's like, man, this is heavy, but I'm Hercules. I'm good. Atlas rolls, grabs the apples, comes back and is like, yeah, guess what? Sorry, dude. You got the earth. We're good to go. So now you get to carry it forever. Hercules is like, you know what? That's a fair trade, man. You were punished so poorly by my father. I understand. That sucks. He's like, so, you know what though? Like my cloak. Remember, he still has the Nemean lion on him.
Yep.
And he's like, what would make my life so much easier is if I could adjust my cloak a little bit to, like, you know, pad my shoulders just a little bit. I'm not quite like you. He's like, oh man, I understand. You don't mind? Herc's like, hell no, I'm good to go, bro. Muscle man, we're good. He's like, so would you mind taking the earth for a second so I can adjust my cloak? Atlas, okay, thanks for the bargain. Pops that earth back on him. Deuce. Rolls.
Grabs the apples.
manipulates Atlas into taking back the Earth, and he just walks out. So yeah, the dragon. You could also say the other story is that he goes loose that arrow with that Hydra blood on it, zaps that serpent, it dies, and I put that in quotes because that's important, because mythological beings don't really die.
Right.
Goes, grabs some of them apples, serpent comes back to life. So it's like a cycle of life and death.
Yeah,
if you want to say, if you want to continue that, although it's just one isolated incident, cool. And they're like, "Hey, here's my apples," and they're like, "Oh my God, you got the apples! That's unbelievable!" And Hercules, because he's a good son, goes back and returns the actual apples. So he actually doesn't take the apples, doesn't actually steal them, takes them, and then actually brings them back to the tree. Lastly, here we go.
Before you say lastly, those apples represent something, though, right?
Go for it.
If you eat them, I'm just confirming with you.
Right.
So if a mortal eats these apples, they keep living. Like,
yeah, they're immortal apples. Yeah.
Right. That's the implication, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry, I didn't catch
something I come back to. Maybe not. Go for the last labor.
Craziness. Cerberus, guard dog of Hades.
Mm-hmm.
He was sent to get him. Well, Cerberus isn't gonna leave. Cerberus is like loyal. He's a dog, right? He's not gonna leave his duties, and that's what he was for. Plus, he's also chained and like no. However, it's Hercules, man. This is his last labor. He's like, I'm gonna make it rain with my fists. Beats the shit out of Cerberus into submission, and technically doesn't beat him. He just wrestles him, and the dog just gives up because he realizes that I can't actually win.
Oh dang!
And brings him back, and they're like, "You got to be kidding me!" But I mean, he did it, and then because Hercules is actually a true, just person, does bring it back to his guard post, and actually, because it's also an immortal dog and mythological beast, didn't actually like harm him in any way. So brought him back to his post, and he was good to go. Labor complete, absolved of his worldly transgressions, even though it wasn't even his fault, it was Hera's fault. He was absolved, and after that was like, man, awesome. Sort of.
Nice.
Sort of.
Here's the twist.
So there's another another part of the story. There's a good version and kind of a bad version. So the bad version is he gets married again, has some more kids. Everything is lovely. And in a fit of rage, he actually kills him again. Different set. And this time he's game over. I am not for this life. Goes up to Mount Etna and builds his own funeral pyre and lights himself on fire for death. That has a very big parallel, I know.
Mm-hmm.
The second one
for the end.
All right. Second one is even worse. Well, at least in my mind, is worse. Again, gets married, same chick, and they come across this mega river, and it's in the centaur land, half horse, half man. The centaur hates Hercules. Herc doesn't know this though, and is like, "Hey, you know what? I'll take your wife across. No big deal." Now, this is wide enough to where, like, Hercules couldn't jump, and it was, like, far enough to where, his mortal wife, wasn't going to be able to, like, swim it for sure. And he's like, "You don't mind?" He's like, "No, man, no worries." Swims across the river, and the centaur's like, "Fuck you, Hercules, and now I'm going to rape your woman." And starts hoofing her, and she's like, "Oh, no." Hercules gets his big-ass bow, poison tip arrow, bam, gets right into that centaur. Centaur knows he's gonna die. Knows this. And is like, if you take my blood, anytime Hercules looks or you feel like he's drifting away from you, give him my blood. I'm so sorry for what I did to you. But true to her word, she's like, oh my gosh, okay. Dying man's last breath kind of thing. You think speak all truth. No, that dude was lying like a mofo. He knew that poison was in his blood, and because it's like immortal poison, would kill Hercules if he got the blood.
Oh, man.
So a few years later, wife is feeling some craziness, and she's like, oh no, I think he's going to go astray, or he's not looking at me the same, whatever. And doop, doop, gives him that little beaker, drinks it, dies.
Oh, man.
And so that's crazy sad.
So we see ultimately
not quite done.
No, go ahead.
One minor thing. Funeral pyre still goes, right? This time he's dead, though. So here's where the craziness goes down. Because you're like, wasn't Hercules part of the pantheon? Yes and no. Was he part of the original? Absolutely not. Was he part of the expanded universe? Yes. So his mortal body was burned, as all heroes that were burned. His immortal aspect is, remember, he was a demigod, right? Zeus was the god. Mom, mortal. Mortal, died. Immortal doesn't really die.
Right.
So Athena, again, because they were homies, carries his immortal side up to Olympus, and then Kitty a visit. Then Zeus then decrees he's a god.
Nice.
So, and he will live out the rest of his life in Olympus with all pomp and circumstance with it. So
nice.
That was this. So I know you've got a little something, and then I'm gonna lay something down for you that or may not like make you think.
Gotcha. Well, this will be like a little end cap, and a little bookend. So I'm just tying a few points together and a few oddities that makes me think that, like, well, Robert Jordan must have known this stuff, and he must have kind of, reshuffled the deck, though. So Luz Theron's full name, the OG dragon, the 3,000 years dead dragon, is Luz Theron Telamon Kinslayer. So I think that even Luz might be like a phonic connection to Hercules, Lise and Luz.
Yep.
But that's just the small point. So the bigger one is Luz Theron in the past. He's kind of like Rand and Perrin and Matt all rolled into one. He's got the muscles, he's got the channeling power, he's got the battle luck, everything. So he's kind of just like your ultimate 80s hero, like your action hero star. Fires 100 bullets, every bullet finds their mark, gets shot at 1,000 times, never gets hurt. So that physically imposing character, like, we're referring to Perrin as being this iteration of like the physical appearance or the physical embodiment of Hercules, his mortal aspect, so to speak. Well, this time, the time around, it looks like the mortal aspect fell squarely on the main man himself, the dragon reborn, in this case, the original dragon, in a way. So what happened to him is kind of interesting. You have that name Telamon in there, and I researched the fact that actually, sometimes Atlas, the Greek god, is referred to as Atlas Telamon because it simply just means the enduring.
Correct.
So you have this guy who they refer to as Atlas, but then they also call him the dragon. Like, what's up with that? And then you have maybe this Herculean aspect. Well, I would say that he kind of is the dragon and Hercules. And I think he is that, specifically that serpent that's guarding the apples. And because of this, a couple points. This will be a little bit thin, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. I don't mind if it gets critiqued. The Dark One in this story kind of represents the Tree of Life in the Wheel of Time. And the reason is he has a temptation. He says that if you, kind of drink from me or whatever, you'll live forever. You don't age. You'll be immortal. So what does Lews Therin have to kill at the end of the story? He has to fight the Dark One. And he only is able to seal him away. But what's also interesting is this dragon that guards this tree is often said to have 100 heads. And Lews Therin goes for this fight with 100 companions. And they're all men in this case, because the women, the Aes Sedai women, just refused to help. They had another plan. And I think their plan was probably the right one. But Lews Therin was kind of prideful, kind of, headstrong. And he's like, man, I don't need your help. I can just do this all by myself. Okay. So in the end, does he win? It's more like a draw. Like, it's more like, yeah, he accomplished what he said he'd do. He said he'd seal the Dark One away, but
at what cost?
At what cost? Everything.
Exactly.
And the Dark One was able to poison the true source, kind of like Hercules gets poisoned. And in a vision of madness, here's the twister: Lews Therin kills and slaughters his own family.
And what was his punishment?
And that was the kinslayer part.
Yep.
So
what was his punishment to himself?
Well, this is what's interesting, right? He has this moment of reprieve where he's allowed to see what he has done. And he goes off far away by himself somewhere. Kind of like how Hercules goes off to that mountain by himself, right? And he draws in so much power from the sky, and they describe it as like a fireball, kind of like a column of fire or a pyre of fire. His body is consumed in that way. And where he was standing, ever since, or from thenceforth, there's a mountain. So it's kind of a juxtaposition of Hercules traveling up the mountain, making his own pyre. But then you have this Lews guy who created his own pyre and mountain.
Very similar. So here's my question. Here's my question to you.
Go for it.
And we actually, in our discussions before, y'all, we actually it's Brandon and Perrin, and that was it, kind of. So I have a question for you. As I've been did a little more reading and like remembering some more stuff.
Okay.
Matt.
Okay.
Trickster. Good with words.
Well, good with the ladies.
Good with words.
Good with getting out of trouble in general. Yeah, that's true.
In a way, Hercules' intelligent part, not the brute strength, but his strategies, and with how he got through some of his labors in terms of luck, because there was some luck involved for sure. There was some strategy, 100%. Obviously, brute strength played a big part of most of them, which obviously man is not brute strength, of course. And then just to be able to be trustworthy and silver-tongued, so to speak, Hercules had that same thing. So I'm going to pose to you, do you think that part of Hercules could actually be also ingrained into Matt in that little way?
I think that's funny, but not off the mark. I would see for sure you have Matt's renowned with the ladies in real time. And we may not have hit that point, but I've heard it said that, Hercules was very much that way.
Yeah. Didn't marry them all, but yep.
Right. No. Well, neither does Matt.
Exactly.
So I would say there's definitely potential there for us to kind of explore that a little bit more. Who's to say? There might be a few things there. What is interesting to me, and this might not tie together, but remember it was Hercules that took the poison from the Hydra's blood to have some poison-tipped arrows.
Yep.
And it was Matt that took that poison dagger out of Shidar the Goth, which which is kind of funny because the monster creature inside of the goth kind of acts like a Hydra. It
Yes,
has
it
those
does.
tentacles that are always coming out of at you, no matter what you do. So there's definitely more parallels there. Absolutely. I would have to say I'd have to examine it more.
By the way, guys, I dropped that one on him on purpose. I
But
didn't know he wasn't actually feeling well because on when our
no, it's
research
all
day
good.
came through, he was feeling fine. So I was like, oh
Right.
no. So
Well, I
I
did
kind of
have a
dropped the
twist.
bomb on him. So,
I did have a twist for you
uh-oh.
that I maybe you'll say nah or whatever, but I want to run it by.
Go for it.
So on reread number 5, I think, because I've reread these books a lot. I love these books. Um, I noticed that I'm kind of seeing Asmodean, one of the Forsaken,
Mm-hmm.
as kind of possibly a Prometheus. And
Mm.
so he originally was a bard from the old age,
Mm-hmm.
and he
Interesting.
fights with Rand for this power, like to
Yep.
be like number one guy. And then he gets cursed by Lanfear basically to basically she's basically like, well, if you're lucky on your good days, you'll be able to light a candle,
With the
and
power.
like with the power, and that's it.
Mm.
So
So for him, it's like
it's
an never-ending death.
it's a never-ending death because every day, like you can't do the one thing you want to do, and he always wanted power. But it's not only that. The other Prometheus parallel is that he teaches Rand how to channel.
Yes.
Like Rand's just been guessing and flying by the seat of his pants until he has those Asmodean.
Yep.
So it seems like kind of a back, like the action precedes the punishment for Prometheus, but this is like, well, now that you're punished, you're going to serve this action.
Right.
But I thought it was kind of similar. I don't know if you thought that was too much of a stretch, but
The premise is intriguing, and it makes sense because Prometheus was like, why don't we give the humans fire? And the gods were like, oh, if we give them fire, that's like the one thing we got over them. I mean, they have a lot, but that's like the one thing that they don't have and can't have.
they'll be like we are.
Right. And so when he gives it to them and they find out, he's severely punished to literally a never-ending death because he is
Yeah.
immortal, can't actually die per se. So every day he's chained. These birds come, eat his soft parts, and then overnight he heals back up painfully,
Well,
and then it
well,
happens all over again. But he still gives the fire, but because he's also not actually dead, people still, when they find him, still go to him and he gives them guidance because he's like, what more punishment can you give me? So that's not, I wouldn't say that would be that far off because Asmodean does actually help Rand significantly, especially
Right.
in his earlier days with the power. But yeah, no, he's just like, weave here, cool, that does that. What happens if I do this? Oh no, I blew some shit up. Okay, next. And it
Right,
wasn't until he got more advanced training, and I would say almost illegal training, if you want to put in quotes, illegal, from Asmodean.
Right. Oh, for sure.
Kind of makes sense. That'd be something that'd be interesting to look into.
No, I thought you might like that because there are a few other things that he mentions that makes me kind of think about these like a Prometheus character, and I won't say much more other than and he comes from the Age of Legend, so it's kind of like he has that
The pre-knowledge.
kind of like God of knowledge kind of aspect.
And he comes from before. And
Like the
Prometheus is a
Titans.
Titan. Yeah.
So coming before Olympia, and we have this, folks. We have this kind of ongoing theory that we kind of it's more like a guideline than a theory. But when Robert Jordan split his book up into the War of Power and then what's going on now, we kind of think that about that as how certain religious texts will be like, well, this is like the ancient times, and then this was the times of the heroes, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And yeah, exactly. So we see that we try to tie that together whenever we can. But yeah, no, that sounds pretty good. I like that. So
All right.
just throwing some bones. I like the mad aspect. That's definitely something we'll have to explore more in regard to maybe him being a little bit Herculean himself. I mean, he definitely talks himself up. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I did all of that. I mean, Rand was there too, I guess.
Yep. So there's our show for the day. Actually,
Yeah.
one of our shorter shows actually, I think, turned into like our longest show. But hey, that's how it goes
Hey.
sometimes. It was mostly me talking, so hopefully you guys appreciate my voice. And I would definitely wish Derek to get better soon, bro.
Thank you, man.
Feel for you. In the meantime, if you like us. If you hate us, yeah, sorry.
But hit the like button anyway.
I was gonna say hit the subscribe button and hate us more, live or not live. Look at our shit and let us know. But definitely like us, subscribe to us. We're definitely looking for extra folks. Comments are always welcome. Email is welcome too. We got a Twitter handle. Knock us out, whatever. In the meantime, everybody have a pleasant week. We're up in North America, so it's starting to get a little winterish here, maybe fallish. Mm-hmm. So, you'll probably be seeing some sweatshirts and hoodies from me soon, unfortunately. But otherwise, it was a pleasure. And like and subscribe is good. And we are the Heels of Time.